Stuck on you. I got this feeling down deep in my soul that I just can't lose. Guess I'm on my way. Needed a friend in the way up here now. I guess that I'll be with you to the end. Guess I'm on my way. Mighty glad to stay.
A warm welcome to all the participants of this program, which is very contemporary, as rightly stated by Vilma, which is into HR analytics. Okay, welcome once again, and a very, very good afternoon to all of you. I think you guys are all privileged to be a part of this program because there's a lot of learning here, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of value at the end of the program. Now, let me tell you what differentiates this program, especially the Meritt programs from the other programs, is that most of theory and reading material has already been given by Vilma. Now, you would be actually doing a lot of practical work, understanding the theory, and you would be doing a lot of breakout activity. As a result, it reinforced your learning and the confidence in terms of not only understanding, but going and applying it to your organizations. I guess that differentiates, and that is a great learning. When you go back, you don't have to think, oh, how did I do it? How do I do it? How do I apply to the organization? You'll have a great, ability to go and apply it in whatever role you are working in. Okay, so welcome once again. So think of, how was HR maybe 2 decades ago? If I were to send somebody for a training program, typically, maybe we should ask Yogesh, how would it do? Typically, when you had to send somebody for a training program, what will you do? Yogesh, you're on the mute. Yeah. The business, say production department says, hey, please conduct this training program. So the training department, what would they do?
Yeah, they will find out the trainer and they will either send them there, or if the participants are more, then they will invite faculty inside.
Now, say for example, I'll ask somebody, Manish Siddharth. So, for example, the business wanted to recruit 3 critical positions. What would they do? They would go to the recruitment department and?
So we would like to first have the role and the JD.
No, 3 decades ago, typically what would the recruitment department do? Or 2 decades ago?
2 decades ago, they would say that we have to hire these 2 people who will do this and this. That's how it should go. It should have gone typically.
So typically, who had the upper hand?
Upper hand, I think usually
2 decades ago, huh?
2 decades ago, business.
In the past.
Yeah. It was with the department business only, clearly. The other department, not HR.
The business.
Or if you have to say
the line manager would have the upper hand than HR.
Correct.
The business, right?
Yeah.
The business
would
say,
yes.
the business would define criteria. The business would say, I want this training program. The business would say, hey, this many people are at a 4 in a performance management or 5 in a performance. You have to give this much. So they would dictate everything. Yeah. We as HR people were only service providers. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? We were only service providers, like any vendor, but we were internal, so HR department, so they would call them. So typically, how was HR looked upon as?
A coordinator of various.
A coordinator, a service provider,
support function.
A support department. We are the people, marketing.
People service.
Hey, I'm actually selling products. I'm bringing in the revenue. Production will say I'm actually making the product producing. What does HR do? Yeah, right? And we were always fighting for a seat at the corner table. Huh? So we were all
Yes, madam, absolutely.
we were all activity driven.
Not these days.
Number of
Not these
training
days.
programs. Huh?
Not these days. I mean, yes, of course, earlier it was the scenario that we used to
So how
fight
was
for
it?
a
We were all
corner seat.
activity driven, saying that, okay, number of training programs done, or number of people recruited, or implement the, I have done. So you typically ask an HR person, what do you do? I actually do the PMS. But what exactly do you do in the PMS? What are the things you do? Oh no, I implement the process. I ensure that the entire process. So we are only activity driven. Gone are the days. Like Manish was saying, gone are the days. Business is asking now HR, hey, if HR today wants to be a strategic leader, right? Strategic partner, and it wants to actually what? Drive value to business. That's what most now they are questioning, right? What value do you bring? So the entire thing, there's a total paradigm shift. And of course, the paradigm shift is because the external environment has changed so much. What has happened in the external environment? Earlier, it was steady, predictable. The market was predictable, right? Earlier. But today, can you say we call it as VUCA world? I'm sure everybody understands what is a VUCA world. What is it?
The dynamic world. It is completely.
Yeah. So what does that
V
VUCA
for
stand for?
volatile, V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for I forgot, but A for ambiguous, C for complex.
C for complex.
So imagine the volatility, the unpredictability, the complexity, how much in today's market, the dynamics, what was yesterday is different today. In technology organizations, what was yesterday a technology, today it becomes obsolete, right? You want a new technology. So with that kind of a thing, can HR still remain a service provider? So they had to raise their bar. So the positioning of HR today has become what? In fact, if you notice, just to give you a little build up, do you know market capitalization earlier was how do you assess or evaluate a company? Earlier in the past, machinery, capital, etc. But today it is more of human capital, right? All these companies, e-companies, where there's not much of machinery, etc. But their market capitalization is huge. Why? Because of the human capital. So how do you build that? So today what has happened, it has become very, very critical to, at the end of the day, how do you take, it's all decision making. It boils down to decision making. Okay. Some of you have done. Have you heard of this movie, Moneyball? Right.
Okay. So Moneyball, basically, the plot of the movie is there's a coach or a trainer for basketball. I mean, there's some game, and they try to predict that what they need to do to have more winnings at the end of the season. So the plot revolves around that only. So I'm not very much clear, but yes.
Yeah. So you may be wondering analytics, but let me tell you, it's a very interesting movie, which was all based on the analytics part. And in fact, a lot of analytics was driven by this concept of Moneyball. Very simple. There was this team, which is called an Oakland team, playing baseball. Okay, like a cricket team, baseball. Now, this team, Oakland team, was not making any wins, or rather they were losing very badly, and they would have been kicked out of the league. And why were they losing? Because players were not playing well. Now, this team also did not have sufficient funds to buy good players. Now, I'm sure most of you, if you were in the recruitment team, they will identify themselves with saying that, hey, we can't get good people because we don't have, we are not paying good salaries, right? Can all of you identify that? Huh?
Yes, yes.
We always have this challenge. Why are we not
Yes,
attracting
yes.
good, why are we not attracting good people? Because we are not able to pay them well. As a
Correct.
CHRO, very often I would get this, ma'am, our compensation is very low. Okay. So therefore, so these guys were used to think that, hey, we can't really get good team players because we are not able to pay them well. But then suddenly there comes one intern who actually passed out from Harvard. And this guy says, hey, to this coach, says, I've been watching and let me tell you, I can actually give you some great suggestions and I can work with you because I have done a lot of analysis and I can ensure you that we will ensure that Oakland A team wins. He said, hey, you are a kid and how can you actually do this? I said, no, let me tell you. So what did he actually do to cut the story short? He said, hey, we have a lot of data and we can actually see that what are those key metrics in the players which are required, which will essentially ensure that the players will succeed. Okay. So it's like, the batting or ball, the strikeout, etc., etc. So in doing that, he actually brought players where he did not have to spend a lot of money, quite I must say with less experience, but ensured that they got the training in these key metrics, and they thereafter this company which is this Oakland A, they really won maximum number of matches. Okay. So what does it all say? That if you work around the right kind of metrics, you are able to assure that there will be better success, better performance, and you are able to then leverage this and give value to business. Okay. So let us actually look at how some of the organizations, are using analytics. A very, very good example. I don't know how many of you have heard of something like a company called Best Buy. This Best Buy is a big retail electronic store in America, a huge chain. Now, what did they actually find from their analysis? By increasing the employee engagement, or you can say, through their employee satisfaction surveys by 0.1%, 0.1%, they could correlate this with what? $100,000 annual operating income in every store. Say, for example, any one of you are employee engagement managers or what we call as the business partners. You have to go to your CEO and say, hey, we want 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs budget to do our employee engagement initiatives. What will the CEO say? Typically, what would be the response? If you were to go and ask for employee engagement budget, what will they say?
इतना budget नहीं है.
Pardon?
इतना budget नहीं है.
इतना budget नहीं है. But what if you were to go and tell them, what if you were to go and tell that, sir, if I actually increase the employment engagements, their satisfaction by 0.1 or 0.5, let me assure you, I can actually increase your operating income. Will he give you then?
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
what does it mean? That you have to show some tangible business
Benefit.
results,
Yep.
some tangible business result. So therefore, Best Buy actually did this. And let me tell you guys, they were able to increase their operating income by $100,000. Now let us talk about another company. This is about employee engagement. Are you all familiar with AT&T and Google?
Yep.
Yes, I'm sure all of you. You know what they did through their data analysis? They found that, they would actually take typically what does one do typically when we look at the screening, selection, and interview? Our criteria for selecting people would be mostly based on what? Mostly based on what? What would be the criteria for selecting and interviewing people? Hiring people.
On the competencies, on the basic competencies.
Yeah,
Departmental
somehow.
competence, individual competencies.
Absolutely. Typically, we get a little what? We do have those biases of, fantastic academic records, right? Or great,
Yes,
prestigious
yes.
schools. This guy has studied from prestigious schools or very good organization. But they found through their analysis saying that, if they had those like initiativeness, or they were able to demonstrate the ability of leadership, etc., those were the people who were better performers. So what does it mean? I can actually pinpoint and say that if I have these two things or these three things, they will definitely lead to higher performance. So what does one want? That are you able to predict? So through analysis, what am I trying to say? You are able to predict. Your prediction is 80 to 95% or 95% higher. And that's what organization wants, right? That are you able to, when you hire a person, are you able to predict that he will actually, be a superior performer or perform better? Because many times, what do? We go through the interview process. And then after 3 months, what is our experience sometimes? What is our experience, guys? When we do the interview? When we hire people, what's been the experience? That, hey, he was talking so much in the interview that he was able to do this, X, Y, Z. But what is this? He's such a bad team player, or he can't really do his work, or he is not able to be accountable, etc. So your predictivity goes up. Now, Sprint is also another organization which did a lot of research and we did a lot of analysis. And I'm sure some of your companies are already doing it. They were able to actually predict who are those high performers who are actually going to leave the company. And as an HR manager, if I get to know that, hey, these are my high performers who can actually leave the company, then will I do something or not? Yes or no?
Yep.
Will I take a remedial action quickly?
Yes.
Yes.
So what is that called? If I have an early warning system, right? If I'm able to know much before that who are these guys who are actually going to leave. So through analytics, you are able to actually predict by actually identifying 10 or 14 indicators. We will do that exercise. Very interesting. Saying that, hey, how can I predict that who are those people who can do it? This is called early warning system. In fact, even Oracle, even Dow Chemicals, these are some of these companies which managed to really bring about huge changes in their performance management, in their hiring processes, and were able to show much more results, business results, okay, through analysis. Very interesting. Let me actually share this. Typically in a call center, there is already this, we have this company, right, who's a big call center into insurance, etc. So what do? They take calls and they're working in really very demanding conditions, right? So there was, again, this call center, through their analytics, found that it was the communication skill and the warmth of the supervisor which helped them to raise the performance of the call center employee. So many in call centers, we think that, hey, why are people attriting? It's a huge, retention is a huge problem in call center. But if you notice that those team leaders or those team managers who manage their call center employees with the great personal warmth and also with great communication skills, these are the people who are able to keep the call center employees for a longer time, and at the same time raise the bar of these people. Okay. Yeah. So these are some of the use cases. And today I'm sure you know that analytics is being used in all fields, whether it is in marketing, whether it is in finance, whether it is in CRM. So, and alongside the entire talent management of today is being managed by analytics. And that's how you can derive results through analytics. Okay. All right. Say, for example, there's a sales company, okay? And you have salespeople. Sales people. All right. Now, typically, what do salespeople do? They have targets and they have to do what? Anybody? What do salespeople do in any organization?
Sale achievement target.
Build
So
revenue.
they have to sell. So ultimately, the number of sales they do depends on what? Depends on conversions.
Yes. Yes.
It depends on conversions. That's their what? What I could say as lag indicator or output. Ultimately, it is not the number of calls they make, but it is the conversions which they, because that is what brings in what? Revenue?
Yep.
Yes. The revenue, cash into the system.
Okay, revenue. Now, say for example, there's an X company. All right. Now, they have an issue. The salespeople are not actually making proper conversions. Now we have a meeting. Sunil Kumar, Siddharth, Manish Kumar will take. He is the training manager. The product manager is Manish Kumar. All right. Pankesh Kumar is the HR head. All right. And Komal is the marketing person. We are all having a meeting. Now, what is the meeting for? We are discussing how to increase the conversions of the salespeople. Got it? So, we are all discussing and suggesting what should be done. So, typically, we are identifying what are those areas which have to be given training for, so that the salespeople can have higher conversions. So please contribute. Let me see. Yeah.
They should be good in communication skills.
Okay. So somebody is saying now, who is this? Communication. Okay. So this person is saying, hey, we can increase the conversions if they have communication skills. All right.
And also negotiation.
All right. Okay. Again, somebody said negotiation.
Convincing.
Yes.
Convincing power.
All right. Convincing, huh? Okay, convincing skills. Huh?
Persuasiveness. So actually, as a training manager, I would have a rather very defined approach, that we will define that what are the definitive skills that are required for the role, what is the kind of client they are going to meet, and for them, the end purpose is to identify what are those skills, primarily 2-3 skills that we need to inculcate within these individuals, and based on the identified training need, we will check if there can be an internal training or an external trainer would be required, what kind of environment should be apt for the training. So I'm focused more on the training side, since you have
so here we have actually called the marketing guy is also there, the HR guy is there, the training guy is there, and you also called a consultant like Nirmala Garg also, just to hear the meeting, saying that, hey, We want to increase the conversion. So what we are identifying here, what are those typically, areas which we think, we need to do. So the marketing guy, who's the marketing person here? Yeah. So Komal will say what? The marketing guy typically will say what?
More brand awareness, marketing
yes.
campaigns.
So the marketer will say, no, product training. Okay. So everybody has their say, right? Product training. So the training guy will say, so somebody will say, okay, somebody will say, no, they must have prior experience. Also, we should take people with prior experience, otherwise no point. So there are a lot of discussions.
They should also know market intelligence, like in the sense of knowing the product where it stands and how they can convince that ये product अच्छा है तो वो दूसरा अच्छा नहीं है, because
This
customers
is very subjective. This is very subjective.
Okay.
We should be more
So product
objective in our
training, the
approach.
marketing person says, you have to have even that. So that will incorporate everything, right? Product training will incorporate market intelligence. Where is your product? Everything, whatever the market.
Okay.
Now you have just. So list of skills, the training person will say, okay, fine. Training will say, but still, we have identified and all that, and we will identify, we'll take care of, Manish will say, according to the IDP, and also according to the identification needs and also analysis, we will think of 3 programs. And you have thought of maybe communication, product training, convincing skills. That's a hypothesis. I will say, call Nirmala Gang and say, please do these training programs. Okay? Then after that,
product side of training as well as behavioral side of training. So I'm saying product side of training and behavioral side of training, both kind of.
After the program also, what has happened? The conversions have not happened. Then who will be blamed? The consultant. उसने कुछ बेकार का काम किया. It didn't really result, right? Because the conversions are not there. But if you have noticed, we have taken this decision. Is there any database? Is there any data? So if we want to introduce the analytics element, even if Manish says, I will go by, generally looking at, I will identify training needs and I will then take into consideration and I will do that. But if I were to introduce the analytic element, how do you think I will do that? I'm just trying to, not only give you theory, but apply it for you all. If you really want to see, I'm spending money, consultant money, classroom training money, everything, there's so much of money. Ultimately, I want results. And where do I want results? I want to see conversions, which will actually then translate into revenue. What will I do? What will I do?
So
then
I can give you certain insight into this. What we can do is probably we can take last 10 years data, 10 years sales or revenue data, and by that we can have a primary analysis of what was our best year in terms of sales, and in that year who were the people who could get more sales, and what we could try to identify what were the what was the kind of product, what was the kind of market, what were the those conditions under which the sales were more. So probably we'll try to connect the dots, we'll try to have some kind of pattern that which has worked us in the past, and probably based on that we can predict how what kind of training, what kind of product, what kind of market research should we implement.
To cut the thing short, how much of time? Now let me give you a very interesting how you as an employee, if you want to drive value in your organization, simple, just this example, saying that, hey, I need to then take a sample, right? I can take a sample of 10, 15 people who sample of data where I will say actual versus conversion. How many cold calls, right? And how many, right? And then go through the data in terms of maybe if I were to do communications, give those people a test and look at their communication skills. All right. Then look at that sample only. Look at their product training. Okay. Test and then look at this. What is the data? Then again, some prior experience. What am I saying? Take data for whether it is listening skills, communication skills, convincing skills. And if there is no test, put those 10 people or 15 people for test. Now, you will have both a mix of what? Low conversions and high conversion people, or low performers and high performers, right? And then once you take that data, you can, through a statistical analysis, which is called correlation. I'm sure some of you have heard of this correlation technique in statistics. You can correlate data saying that, hey, if communication skill is high, does the conversion go up? Is there a correlation? If product training, that test scores are high, does the conversion go up? Or if my prior experience is high, does the conversion go up? So I can actually take 7 variables, 8 variables, which are critical, and start looking at correlation and see which has the highest correlation, and then I can specify that these 1 or 2 things are the key metrics. And if I give training in this, surely people will convert. Are you with me? Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Hey, please, yes or no?
Yeah.
So this was a real
Yes, ma'am.
exercise. This was a real exercise which was done, and wherein we found that listening, see, we always think product training, etc. Listening skills and communication skills were very, very critical in increasing the conversions. Here, first, what we were doing, so you need to establish what I call, before taking a decision, test your data through hypothesis, right? You have to, first of all, try to get at a hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? A statement saying, hey, this communication skill increase conversions. It's a hypothesis, right? Now, how will you test that data? By bringing a set of data. Got it? So this is just to give you an introduction saying that the power of analytics. Okay, guys? So typically, as I said, analytics can be used in all domains. And but today we are only concerned about the human resource analytics. And when we talk about analytics, that's where I'm going to talk about. We are going to talk about 4 areas of level of analytics. That is the strategic level, then the quantification level, the operation level, and then the predictive level. So in our 4 sessions, today's session will be more of building and the what and the why of analytics and looking at some of the terminology of analytics. But in session 2, we're going to look at strategic level, where we are going to do the strategic map, etc. And then in the quantification level, after having derived the lead and the lag indicators, we will build HR scorecard, and we will look at what are those key metrics, whether it is lead or lag, and how do we go about. It will all be a practical. And then we will look at operational level, where we will be doing a lot of these quantitatives in terms of benchmarking, trend analysis. And operation level is what, like, for example, what Manish said or Sunil said, I have a lot of data. So how do we present this data, this past data? How do I give a dashboard? So we are not taking any decisions, but I'm just presenting the data. Okay. But when we talk about predictive level, then how are we going to take decisions? What kind of techniques are we going to use? The regression technique, the correlation technique, and can I predict? So this is how it's going to be when we are going further on in the other sessions. Okay. So if we were to talk about just an analytic framework, for any analysis, you need a framework, right? How does a framework look? So that means it starts with what? Unless and until you have a business goal or you have an objective, you just can't do analytics. Like a lot of us were talking about, oh, we have a lot of data, but doesn't mean that because I'm sitting with the data, I will just do some analytics. 500 metrics are there, but what value? So I need to first of all articulate that. So all of you, when you go back, you can't say, hey, I want to do some analytics. No, what is the business problem? Is there a huge retention in my organization? Or is there a huge compensation problem? I'm not able to attract people. Or is there a huge underperformance problem? How can I raise the bar? So you have to first of all look at a business problem. Okay. Now, having identified or articulated that priority, then you say what data I need to take into consideration. So then I will identify those metrics, key metrics. Then I will segment by jobs or location or performance or tenure, etc. And then I will get insights and do the action. So this is a broad framework applying to any kind of analytic you can do. You can go back and do for payroll. You can go back and do for performance management. You can go back and do for attrition, retention, etc. Okay, share this. Like, the finance talks about what? The EBITDA, cash flow, etc. And the marketing talks about all, this is the market share, this is the customer share, this is the net promoter score. And the manufacturing guy talks about productivity, quality, efficiency, etc. But what does the human resource talk about? But today, I think we are answerable to the management. We are answerable to the top management in terms of saying, hey, what is the kind of, value we are bringing. So therefore, I typically call it as value adding part. So how do I add value to the business? By becoming a value adding partner. So whether it is, reducing the attrition, or whether it is increasing the performance, or whether I'm using the performance management statistical analysis and seeing where is the leniency effect. Okay, we will be talking about all those things. So this is what is the bottom line. All right. So when essentially, how would you define, if I were to say, what is HR analytics? What could be the difference? I'll just go back. If I were to ask you, hey, what would be the definition of an HR analytics? What do you mean by HR analytics? What does it mean? What do you understand by it? Now that I've given you so much of background, so much of context, anybody? It's a systematic analysis, right? Of what? The data. And from where? We have all the data. So what do we do typically? It's a systematic identification and quantification of people-related processes data to drive business outcomes. Think about it. What are we doing in HR analytics? We are using all the people-related processes data, whether it is recruitment data, performance management data, or whether it is compensation data, etc. We are using that and going through a systematic identification and quantification to drive business results. So that what? It can be used for human capital measurement. It can be used for talent analytics. It can be used for strategic workforce planning. Okay, guys, any questions here in understanding what is the definition of analytics? So what would be those areas of data in HR? All the HR functions, be it performance management function, be it compensation, recruitment. So we can get data from. In fact, the best guy is MIS guy who sits on a lot of data. So the most important thing is when we are doing this, we are actually establishing a cause and effect relationship. Right? That is very, very critical. What is it? We are establishing a cause and effect relationship between what HR does and the business outcome. Anybody? Some of you are really experienced. Can you give me an example? See, when we are actually processing data, people data, what are we trying to establish? Through correlation, regression, etc. What are we trying to establish? A cause and effect. Say, for example, very interesting example. Say, for example, there are in my organization 5 interviewers. Who? 5 interviewers. What is their role? What is the
To
role
hire
of an
people.
interviewer? To hire people. So what do they do typically?
They
This
They will
screening
interview.
resume.
They
No,
identify
they will
the
interview people, right? You are interviewing people. So when you are interviewing people who have been called for interview, so the interviewers will give you an interview rating for those candidates.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now HR manager will say, hey, among these 5 interviewers, these 4 people need training. Now, how does it decide on that? How does it decide on that? Is it just because, oh, these 4 people, they look, they don't sound very good? Or is it by gut feeling? So have you established a cause and effect relationship saying that I have to give training? Because today training doesn't come cheap. It costs money. You have to have a budget. So if you were to do, how do you decide? So through analysis, what you can do? You can capture what? Interview rating data of these candidates, of all the 5 interviewers. Okay. And then after 3 months or 6 months, what data can you capture? Quick.
Training and
Performance
probation.
Performance data. Then you can say, hey, now this interviewer has given this interview rating and he has given also this performance rating. Is there a correlation between this interview score and the performance score? So if there is a correlation, then you'll say, hey, he's a good interviewer. But if there is no correlation, then that means he needs training. Are you trying to now see there's a cause and effect relationship? We will see that how we will actually. So typically, if I were to say where all can we use HR analytics, let me just take a screen and then we'll do. So if I were to ask you where all can we use HR analytics? In HR
First of
areas?
payroll. For
Yeah.
payroll, like benchmarking, compensation studies, CTC variance, and then predictive for next 1 year as a appraisal. Second for
Okay.
recruitment, then as you said, rightly said, like ops rating, then line manager rating, then recruitment rating, and then we can also track vendor track record for HR as well as in case if you are hiring through outsources vendor, you can also track their record through HR request. How many
Okay.
vendor provide the right candidate? Okay. After
Yeah,
that,
anybody else?
employee engagement, retention. So lots of activity we
Yeah,
can
anybody
track
else?
everything.
Training effectiveness, you can also say employee engagement, satisfaction score in terms of employee. We can check the effectiveness of the engagement initiatives. We can also, training effectiveness, we can check by analyzing the, the training impact analysis. After that.
Absolutely. Impact analysis. Yeah.
Compensation
One more
benchmarking.
area, anybody?
Compensation
Impact analysis.
benchmarking.
Performance.
So we can also, madam, we can check if there's a cultural variance. We do a lot of pulse surveys in organizations, so we can also identify those kind of key variants in the pulse survey and understand where
Yes,
the
absolutely.
evolution is going.
Culture fit. And you can actually then, absolutely. Variance analysis.
Compensation benchmarking.
Coming. Okay. Yeah. Somebody said, yes. Who said that compensation?
Compensation benchmarking.
Compensation, yes. In compensation, you can do benchmarking.
Employee well-being.
How do you use employee well-being?
To know if they have any kind of sort of issues with the current role or their that something like that.
No.
So what kind of data will you collect?
What we can
so
do
we
is,
will roll out some surveys. We will roll out some survey. We will roll out the surveys to get to know that what exactly they want. If they are the proactively response to do their jobs, and then we can convert the results in a better, and they can perform better if they are happy to do their roles and in a proper and with effectiveness. So if they are good, then they can convert your results in a better form. That everything is
so
that's surrounding around
for you. because I will come to saying that whenever we say, okay, we can use in payroll, recruitment, now I will derive that. For example, if I want to do in these areas, what are those key things I require for analysis? I'll come to that. So I'll just park your statement there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I can also do, say, for example, benefit analysis.
Benefit, then I think
Right?
most important is the compensation and competency comparison. Am I paying
We
right
can use for
compensation to the right
competencies.
competency?
Yeah, we can use for competencies, leadership. Okay, so in fact, I think if you see this is a very long list and we can still increase this list. So you can see that analytics can be used in every area of your HR, wherever there is data, right? Wherever there is data. But if there is no data, quantitative data, will also look at how do we then convert qualitative data into quantitative data. So we'll also look at types of data, etc. in a little while. All right. Okay. So as you can see, so you can use, in recruitment, you can use in performance management, you can use it in compensation, you can use it for career planning, succession planning, in fact, in all the areas of HR functions. So when you say, okay, so let us come to why should we be using? So what is the benefit when we use analytics? What are one or two things which we really gain when we use this analytics? Say, for example, if I'm able to, yeah.
You can find the focused area for intervention.
No, what are the outcomes? Outcomes in solid for business. What are those outcomes which will help us, for the business?
Payroll analysts, we can manage the talent in case we are pay under the market, so we can increase.
So let me tell you guys, why should we use? Because these are the three areas which are very, very critical. Cost. When you use analytics, it helps us. For example, I'm doing what? A recruitment. Okay. What happens when I'm actually not recruiting the right kind of hire? It leads into what? It leads to what? A wrong hire will lead me to what? Huh?
Cost.
It can lead to attrition. It can lead to low performance, right?
Performance, low revenue.
So what does it mean? It impacts cost. Or if I have to hire again, that means again a cost. So cost is impacted. Or if my 50% of the people are not engaged properly, what happens? Again, impact on what? Productivity. You agree? Huh? Or say, for example, the performance management. You can look at impact. Compensation. You are paying the fixed salary month on month, but they are not delivering. What do? Again, cost impact. So when you do analysis, the three great big benefits are cost, performance, and productivity. And are these not critical for organizations at a business level? Yes. In terms of cost, in terms of productivity, in terms of performance, they're very, very critical. And that is why analytics has really become very critical for HR especially. So the best thing is to teach this. I will now take you all to data. Okay. Now I'm going to use the data which we have already here. And what I would suggest is then you all to do that. Okay. But I'm just using. So typically as an analytics person, when we say, hey, data, I should know, how it looks like, what it is, how is the spread, etc. Right? Now, you don't have to really learn statistics so much. We have a very interesting tool called data analytics tool. Have you all downloaded that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So all that you need to do is just go there, Excel options, right? And then add-ins for all of you, just then manage, go to manage, Excel add-ins, then you do analysis tool pack, then go. I'll say okay.
Okay.
Okay. And just look at your, okay, sorry. Look at your data and you will see. Can you see this icon, data analysis?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you just look at this data now, if you open this,
Yes.
you will have something called descriptive statistics. Okay. Now click on that and say okay. So what can you see? Input, range. So all that you need to do is now input range. So I want to look at here, it's a data. The data is what? Salary data. I want to see how this data looks. Okay. So what will I do? Just highlight the data. Have I got it correct? Okay. Now my data is in a column form. So I've picked it in column, right? And label also I've taken. So I'm going to click that label, right? Now, where do you want this output range? Do you want it in the same sheet or do you want it in a new worksheet? So I will say, okay, fine. I'll say new worksheet. Then summary statistics. That's what I want. I want the largest number, smallest number. All right. So then what do? I say, okay. Let me make this. Now, can you see the summary of your data?
Correct.
Now, what is mean typically?
Average.
It's the average of your data. I've taken what? I've taken 30 numbers, right? Data, and the average salary is this one. Now, it also, so when you look at this data, all that you want to look at is a mean. You don't need standard error. Median. What is a median?
The mid value of the entire,
When you put your data in a logical ascending or descending order, the mid value of the data. What is mode?
the number of items appearing in the
value which appears more number of times, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
So there is no, because this is a continuous data where all these 30 people have different salaries. So there is no mode. So typically when you say standard deviation, anybody who understands what is standard deviation? That means, the difference between your any set of data, okay, from the mean, which also we don't need right now. We don't need kurtosis, skewness, because what is skewness? When we actually put this as a graph, I will show you a graph, then how steep is the graph or how broad is the graph? Now, what is range? Anybody? What is the range? The difference between the min and the max. Yeah. What is the minimum? That means the lowest salary. Maximum, that is the sum is the total. Then count is how many people we have. I use 29. What is the largest and what is the smallest? So today you don't even have to learn statistics. By the click of a button, you can get all your data.
But what is kurtosis and skewness basically?
Yeah, I will actually tell you once you do your data. I want to take, because I don't want to confuse you with kurtosis is nothing but the sharpness. I'll show you the figure and then describe this. What is the kurtosis? I'll just go back to the slide and show you. 1 second. Okay. Then I want you all to do this. So mean, everybody knows. What's a mean? Average value. Standard error, I said, when you take the sample, the difference between the mean and the number, any number you take, okay? Then median, the mode, all right? Then standard deviation, I told you what it is. Then when we talk about kurtosis, yeah. What is kurtosis? That means if you notice how is the tapering here? You know, if you look at this, how this pink line, this will have what? A shorter peak and this will have more tail. So how is it distributed? So this variance or the skewness is called the kurtosis. That means, you know, it's a measure which helps you to understand how sharp, how at the peak, how much is it? Like, for example, this pink line, is it broad? As opposed to if you say here, it is very, very narrow. Okay. So this is called the kurtosis, because in measure of dispersion, we have three measures. One is the variance, the kurtosis, and the range. Range is the difference between the minimum and the maximum. Kurtosis is the skewness which you have, and the variance is the standard deviation.
How does this kurtosis helps in any analysis? Basically, if I see.
Yes, it helps. When you look at a range of data, it helps you to understand how your data is spread.
Okay.
Okay. Say, for example, in performance management, if you have, let me see if that is there. Okay. In performance management, say, typically, central tendency will have a normal distribution. Everybody understand normal distribution where min, median, mode, everything falls under the same. But do you think there's a difference here in this and in this? So when your median is higher than your mean, what happens? Your data is skewed. For example, say 5 people are there. Now 4 people's salaries range between 10 and 15, 10, 12, 15, 20. But one person's salary is say 80,000. Don't you think the data is skewed? Then you will have something like this, which is called what? A skewed data. So that's when it helps you whether there is what, how do you then look at whether will you take mean data or will you take median data? So somebody asked me the question saying that, how does it help me? So it helps you to derive or to take the right data depending on how your data is spread. Now, many a times, if your data is skewed, that means there are many outliers. For me, then mean data cannot be taken, average data. Are you with me, guys? Average data, because there are too many outliers. Okay. So I typically take what? A median data. For example, in performance management, what happens? We always try to tell the business, hey, please do normalization and then have your bell curve. What does it mean? So many a times what happens, they have given a lot more people a rating of 4 and 5. So when you give a rating of 4 and 5, what happens? The data gets skewed and there is something called leniency error. Then what does the compensation person will have to do? Anybody who has done performance management and compensation. So I will need to pay more salary, but the budget is not there. So what will I do then? I will then say, hey, I'll go back to the business and say, please, your curve, there is a leniency effect. Now you please put them into a bell shape so that we are able to get the right numbers at a 4 and at a 5. I don't know how many of you are familiar with performance management. Are you getting me what I said?
Yes.
Sunil, are you getting me what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So basically, we are also providing the rating in our organization on the basis of
what
annual
I'm trying
appraisal.
to say, somebody asked me, how does it help? So I'm taking an example of a performance management data. At the end of the year, what happens? Every business actually, it rates. A rating scale is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what do I say? I give them an instruction saying that everybody has to fall in a bell curve. So your percentage of 5 rating should be only 10%. Your percentage of 4 rating should be 15%. Your percentage of 3 raters should be 60%. I give a bell curve. But whereas it shows that you have given actually 40% to maybe 4 or maybe 30% to 5, then in that case, what happens? If you plot a curve, you can get a curve which is skewed. What will be the impact? That means you need to dole out more budget because you will need to give more compensation there. But my budget is fixed. I cannot give more. So therefore, I'll go back to the business and say, hey, there is somewhere a leniency effect. You have given more people higher rating. Now try and fix them into the percentages I have given, which is supposed to be central tendency or a bell curve. Are you with me now, Jay?
I think, ma'am,
Yes, madam.
it will help.
I have done that.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
this gives a more favorable understanding of madam, your concept. Thank you so much.
Yeah, somebody said, yeah, I think even
Yes, ma'am.
Yogesh
I
wanted
think it will
something.
help you to, for rating in case we predict for the next year. So we just suppose take 10% for each and every employee, okay, and predict
Yeah.
next year budget. So we can track our
Absolutely.
budget where we are going beyond the budget or we are on the same pace, okay, and
Yeah.
we require
So
some more
when you
budget
do
in
the
case we are rating
analytics, you
is
can
going high.
actually analyze how many people have you rated in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, as opposed to your typical bell curve. Okay. You can plot those curves and see where is it skewed. Right. So what I want you all to do now is, please go to your data sheet, this one. So here you have in M. Can you see this? All of you can see?
Yes.
I want to do descriptive statistics for 2 sets of data. Age, all right? Age, and you can do once again salary and last rating. That is your rating scale, performance rating, okay? Rating, salary, and age. But you will do them not all multiple. You will have to take them individually and do it. Descriptive statistics. And take only for 50 numbers. If the data is more, you can only take for 50 numbers. Got it?
Your last rating.
Age, salary, and last rating. Okay? I'll also then later on show you whether there is a correlation between rating and salary. Okay? Whether performance rating and salary. So is there a correlation between rating and salary? So first we will just do the descriptive statistics. Got it, guys? Okay. So can one of you share what you've done?
All right. So now this is about the age.
Age. Okay.
And this is a real magic for us, because Mani shared with me that he was doing manually. And when,
no, can you just put it a little, you go between A and B. Can you increase that? Yeah. So your concern here is mean, median, mode. Let us look at the key things first. And as we keep going in the sessions, then whenever we have to use it, then we will go to the others. So your mean age, the average age is around 40. Okay. And your median, 42. All right. Then your minimum, your range is 38, minimum, maximum, the sum total, your count, okay, the largest is 59 and the smallest is 21. All right. Yeah. Quickly, can we go to the other data, salary data? Mean, yes, median, minimum, okay, maximum, sum. All right. Okay, great. Okay. Can we look at the other data?
last rating.
This is what?
Last rating.
Performance rating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, rating. Huh. Mean, median, mode, then your minimum. Okay, range is only 4, minimum 1, maximum. All right. Good, good. All right. Can I
This
have a
is
look
like-
at the other group, please?
This is like magic, huh? Very good.
Yeah, no, the
Thank
next
you.
step, we'll do that now. This is just the elementary thing, very elementary. You're just getting a feel for How is your data distributed? Now, let me look at the other.
Okay. We took 3 data fields, age in company, salary, and last rating. And when we put the formula, then we derive these results. So this is towards age in company, this is towards salary and last rating. So in terms of age in company, we can see that mean of all the ages is 9.07 median. So these highlighted fields we want to discuss with you. So I just highlighted these.
Yeah. So
Median
as we do more of example, then we will discuss standard error, standard deviation, where you will use that data. Right now, you're just getting a feel of the central tendency measures, which are mean, median, mode, range, minimum, maximum, sum, count. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of, it is pretty much self-explanatory. Median is 6.5 and the range is 35. So the difference between highest and lowest, it's 35. Minimum experience, age in company is 0. Maximum experience is 35. Sum of total count, sum of total experience is 907.
Okay.
The
Good.
total count is of
Wonderful.
100.
All right.
In
So
terms
one
of
is okay.
salary,
Now, stay with it. Now, when you looked at your data in the data sheet, were you able to make out anything? Nothing, no?
No.
But when you actually now look at your data in this form, you know, hey, what is the mean data? What is the mode? So what does it help you? It helps you to put a format in terms of how does your data look? How is it spread? Got it?
Yeah, very quick
But when
analysis.
you just look at data, you can't make out anything. That's the first thing. Step one, when you look at data, you don't know what it is, but you looked at a row of data, but you couldn't make sense of it. But now you are able to make sense of it by saying, hey, you know, the mean of this data is 9 or the median of this data is 6.5. You are able to, then you will make some analysis. Oh, that means the median is 6.5. So mode is, there's not only one. Then the range is 35. Is it broad? Is it so you are able to make some inferences? You are able to make some inferences, observations, looking at this format, right? So that's the step. Okay, great, guys. Next one.
Okay, so next is salary and last rating. So it is also self-explanatory in terms of salary. We can see that the largest salary is 1.97 lakh. The smallest salary is 42,000. The range is 1.55. That gives us median salary is 1.18 lakh and mean salary is 1.19 lakh. So mean and median salary are nearby. So this explains that data is in good shape. And if we check about last rating, so the last rating, mean rating is 3.34, median is 3, mode is 3. So it says that
means a lot of people are getting 3.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting 3. So 3 being the standard normal rating. The range is 4 because the highest rating was 5, lowest was
Difference
4.
between the highest and the lowest.
Yeah.
Nobody got 0.
Yeah, nobody got 0. Okay. So
largest and
that is
smallest.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. All right.
Now, with the
Wonderful,
help
guys.
of this data, we can raise the question with management. Why you are giving the
So this
1
is
or
just
maybe
the
3?
first. Now I will tell you very interesting. We will also look at, is there some relation between salary and rating? Is there a relation between, has a company looked at, is there a relation between age and salary? We'll do that step by step, right? Is there a relationship between this data and this data? That means, will salary go up if my age goes up? Or is it that if my rating is high, is my salary going up? So I, as an HR person or a payroll person, then will start making those observations, and then we can show the management sometimes. Okay, we'll come to that. All right. So you can learn more, right? So when it comes to evolution of human analytics, in the sense that HR analytics, well, it was not that, nothing was happening. Even in the early 90s also, there was some effort in terms of measuring, capturing the data and understanding, the effectiveness of employees, right? But what's very important, as we kept evolving, if you know that Dave Ulrich, he came up with this HR scorecard, HR metrics, and thereafter, then the balance scorecard, because balance scorecard actually essentially is a measurement tool which measures the performance of an organization on 4 parameters, right? 4 perspectives, which we will be doing in the next session. And of course, in HR scorecard, I'm sure all of you have learned about it or read about it, which also gives you an understanding of the measurement metrics from the HR functions perspective. Right. And if you want more information, I'm sure Vilma has shared, and you can read a lot more about it from the reading material. Right. Now,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know that where all can we use, huh? We have already discussed that various HR functions like acquisition, PMS, learning and development, compensation benefits, we can actually use analytics in all these areas. Then, when you want to do analytics, what becomes very important? You have to find out which are the data sources for HR, right? So if you want to do HR analytics, then you have to find out from where do I get data sources. So if you want to do for recruitment, go to recruitment MIS, right? So these are the various data sources from where you can get data. Now, why is data important? Because without data, you can't analyze. Okay. Now, what is very important in data is that it has to be also what? Very clean data. So when you want to do data analysis, you have to first of all identify what you want to do, collect data, clean the data, analyze the data, and then interpret the data. What we will be doing through our practical experience now is how do you analyze? We will collect data and analyze and interpret. So what is very important when you go back, when you look at your own data, you also need to know, are there any gaps? So you have to clean your data. So that is what is called cleaning the data. Well, whether it is the appropriate data you're collecting, because when you talk about cleaning the data, not all the data is useful. You'll find duplicate or maybe badly formatted data, because in Excel, it has to be really very clean. When you use Excel, then no spaces, no duplicate records, everything. All right. That's what it is. All right. So having said this, now we are talking about data. So we have to understand, hey, but let us look at types of data. Got it? Numerical data or quantitative data? Very easy to analyze, right? Quantitative data is what? Anything which, how will it look? Can you give me examples of quantitative data? From the HR function?
Salary.
Quick. Salary. Huh? Age.
Salary, age, numbers.
Number of people in a business unit, etc. So everything is related to numbers, quantitative, right? Numerical. But that same data can be also divided into discrete data and continuous data. What is discrete data? Anybody who's familiar with statistics? It is nothing but the size of a class. 30 people, 35 people. Does it keep increasing? Maybe over a period of time it can increase, but it is fixed. But it cannot be 30.5, 30.6, no. So when we talk about discrete data, that means counting how many apples, 10 apples, 5 apples, okay? What is the age? So it is all discrete data. But when we talk about continuous data, height, it can keep increasing, right? Weight, okay? Length. So this is called continuous. So when we do analysis, we also have to have an understanding of this nature. Is it discrete data, continuous data, etc.? Quantitative. Now, when you do analysis, you have to use only quantitative data, but you can also get qualitative data, right? What is qualitative data? There are 2 types of data, quantitative data, qualitative data. When salary of an employee will be in what? Qualitative or quantitative?
Quantitative.
Yeah, but sometimes what happens, employee satisfaction survey data can be qualitative, right? Or for example, your performance also can be qualitative. So what is qualitative data? It can be, for example, let us see. Qualitative data, what does it look like? Huh? Languages, is it qualitative data? Religion, qualification. So all these are qualitative data. Quantitative data is age, height, weight, income, etc., etc. Now, but if you want to know, you also have to do analysis for qualitative data. So can I do analysis for qualitative data? No. I have to then convert qualitative into quantitative. How do I do that? Can I do that? We normally do that. Yes. How do we do it? For example, hot, hottest, hotter, hottest. If there is something hot, hotter, hottest, what do? I can put 1, 2, 3. For example, in your satisfaction survey, you will say what? You will give 1, 2, 3 for ratings based on some qualitative measures. Or in performance, you have a rating scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 will be what? Poor. 2 can be average, or 2 can be just mediocre. 3 can be average. 4 can be, okay, outstanding. And 5 can be excellent. So when you have such qualitative descriptors, I can translate them into qualitative terms like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is called what? Ordinal data. In qualitative data, there are two kinds of data: nominal data and ordinal data. What is ordinal data? That means we can rank them. But nominal data is no name. So I can't rank them. Male, female, can you rank them? Or, country names. But ordinal data is what? You can rank them into certain, you can give hot, hotter, hottest, you can give them like 1, 2, 3. You can convert them. Okay, let's see. And data, I want to show you this also, saying that data can be from what? Employee data, recruitment data, performance data, compensation data. Typically, all these are quantitative data. But sometimes employee engagement data can be qualitative data, which is what? Ordinal data, which has to be converted into then quantitative data, right? Then what else can be an ordinal data in organizations? Surveys mostly are qualitative data, all right? Okay, so these are various data where you can actually collect data for different functions of HR. Yeah, let us do a quick case study, and then I will want you to do this exercise from the data. There are, which I talked about, there are two people, Ashok and Deepak. Okay, these are two recruiters, right? Now, Ashok is a person, we will put Manish. Manish is a person who is always boasting about recruitment skills. He has also a fixed set of questions, and he is asking those questions to all the candidates. And he feels that by just looking at them, he can actually select the people, okay, and make a judgment. Whereas this Deepak, so Deepak could be somebody else, Manish. So actually, I don't want to use again Manish because there are two Manishes. We'll use Komal. Huh? Komal is a quiet person. She thinks, she always asks simple questions. And then she also tries to analyze body language, interest, potential, etc. She goes by the competency-based interview. Now, the company wants to know who is a better interviewer. You think through analytics or through gut feeling, I'll say, hey, Ashok is good or Deepak is good. Or I will say, okay, let me try it by doing tick, tick, tick. And can I, through analytics, use the analytics to find out who is a good interviewer so that I can send the other person for training? Can I do that? Yes. So what kind of data will I take of this? Who are these employees? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Done. Now, rating of, Ashok. All right. For A, he gave 5. B, he gave 6. For C, he gave 8. These are all the rating of the interview ratings. But thereafter, after 6 months, the performance ratings are this for Ashok. Now, for Deepak, these are the ratings and these are the performance ratings. All right. Now, let us see who is a better interviewer. What will you do? You tell me, what can you do? How will you do?
Same we put
Manish?
for.
Find a correlation.
Will be a
do?
correlation.
Yeah, correlation.
Correlation.
Will be a
Okay.
correlation.
Let's see.
So the rating-
Anybody can quickly put this on an Excel sheet and I'm going to stop sharing. You can share that with me so that I can guide you through. Okay. Who is sharing this data? All right. Excellent.
Yes, I have
Okay.
shared this.
Who is it?
Manish Kumar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Manish, simple. Since you others are pro at it. Now, what? Write the name of this interviewer. Ashok and who else? Deepak. Okay, just write here Ashok and write here Deepak. So
and
you go to formula, insert function,
So, but we
go
already
to
have-
formula, insert function, go to formula. You can see on click on that. Okay, then go to the under the file you have insert function. Click on that. Click on that. Then you can just click here. Yeah. So CORAL, CORREL.
I think it is already there.
No, just put there. And then say go. You will get it. Click on that. Okay. Now what are you getting? Array 1
and array
array 2. What are they? 2 sets of data. Now what you will do, just highlight your rating data, put it there. Now click on array 2. Now go to that, highlight that data and then put it there and then say okay.
So
what is your
is
correlation?
0.107.
0.1. What is the measure? -1 to
1.
Plus 1.
plus 1. Right? So this is only 0.1. Anything between 0 to 0.3 is absolutely regarded as no correlation. Are you with me? That means when Ashok is doing an interview, there is no correlation between the interview rating and the performance rating. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Are you with me? Now, graphical also you can see that. Now what you do, please highlight both the data, rating and performance data, and do what I call it as what? Scatter graph. So go to insert, then go to charts. Yes, no. Go to charts, recommended charts. Go to chart. You're going there. If you go a little left, no. Go to that charts. There is a name written charts. Yes, click on that.
Okay.
Click on that. Then go to first one. Right. Now click on any blue dot. Click on any blue dot. Okay. Now look at, now use your mouse pad and do the right click. Do a right click of your mouse pad and then add trend line. Add data labels, add trend line. Can you see your graph?
Yeah.
What is this graph showing? That absolutely your points are dispersed and your line is showing. So a visual description of this also shows that there is no correlation. Are you with me?
No trend. Yeah. There's no
Huh?
trend.
Now for the second data, all of you please do it at your desk.
Okay.
Now, have you understood how to do it?
Yes.
Yeah. For the second data, please do it.
Okay.
Good. Now, can you see now that the graph between Deepak and Ashok are different? Can you see?
Yes.
And what is the correlation? Did you calculate?
the correlation of Ashok is this.
Yes. And what about
And
Deepak?
Deepak is
Yeah. Yeah. Now you
0.64.
don't have to calculate
Deepak is-
separately. Now I'll tell you another secret. Who is sharing this?
Komal.
Komal is sharing.
Komal. Now, Komal, click on Deepak's thing. Scroll up, scroll down. Yeah, scroll down. Now click on Deepak. No, click on, I'm saying, click on that Deepak's data, click on anyone. Click, then right in your mouse pad, do the right click. Now, when you will show, go to add trend line, then is another, click on that, then can you see something has opened up? Now, there, you ask for, 1 second. Can you see forecast, forward, backward, display equation on chart and display R square. Now, can you see your correlation 0.64? Is it tallying with that, whatever you did?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So this is another method of, but I will not explain now what all this is because you will get R square. What is all this? When you do regression, I will help you all. But just this is another short method. Okay, great. So now I want you to tell me if there is any correlation between, now Vilma quickly put them into 2 groups. But before that, you please listen to me. You have to see if there is any correlation between what? Age and salary. What did I say? Age, salary. Is there a correlation between rating and salary?
In the same data.
You worked on.
We worked on the previous sheet, that one.
Yeah, those 2 sheets, those 2 data, but it will be age and salary, rating and salary. Are you with me? Correct? Is the company giving high salary based on the age? Or is the company giving high salary based on your ratings? Let us see if there is any correlation. Are you with me? Yes. Like, I don't know if there is number of years of experience in that service. You can also see whether there's correlation between number of years of stay and salary. Got it? But now, for now, just look at those 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first, there is no correlation between age and salary.
1 second. So you looked at, this is for both because it will be similar. So I'm just wanting to. So you looked at 2 sets of data. You're saying, hey, can I see that whether there is any dependence? That means as the age increases, are we having a salary rise, etc.? We want to see that. So absolutely no. There is no way, no relation at all between age and salary. Okay, right.
Then salary and rating.
This organization, the data shows that, based on the last performance rating, there is no relationship between the rating and what the person is getting as salary. Okay. Doesn't mean it will happen for all the organizations. You are only looking at this particular data and you are concluding it, saying that there is no relation.
But otherwise, practically, this can never happen, no? Because there is always.
Why it can happen? Maybe this is the total salary which has come because there are other factors, The amount of increase is that data which you have to look at. Are you getting me? Somebody must have joined at a less base, somebody must be at a high base. So just by looking at total salary and saying, hey, it has to keep increasing. Are you with me now? Maybe you are at a lesser basic, I'm at a higher basic. So it can happen.
Rating has
always bonus is 8.33 of your basic salary. Suppose my basic salary is at 10 lakhs, or maybe someone basic salary is the 5 lakhs. So maybe there is a difference of the salary as well as.
No. So here there is no, can I just say there is no correlation between salary and rating because there's a huge difference. We are looking at just no designation, no level. We are just looking at the salary, total salary, right? So Obviously, there is no correlation. So there will be many other factors you need to look at. So just by saying, hey, there should be a relation between salary and rating. So obviously you can make an inference saying that it cannot be. And it also clearly shows here. Okay, let us see bonus. So
Bonus
here,
and
even
performance.
bonus is not related with your rating. So that means bonus could be related with your level, with your position, with your base salary. I'm talking about base. Total salary is different. Base or fixed salary is different. Because in salary, you have base salary, which you get guaranteed salary month on month, and you get variable salary. Now, bonus is calculated typically on a certain percentage on the fixed component, and depending on, across the levels, across positions, it will vary percentages, right? So just drawing a data like this, saying that bonus and rating, obviously, so it clearly shows that there is no correlation. Now, the learnings from this is, if you recall, I told you sales data. How does this help you? So how does it help? Saying that you can look at various variables and then see that does this data really relate, or is there any relation between the outcome? And here the outcome is what you want to look at, say bonus. So there is no relationship between bonus and rating. So for example, I'm taking any particular process. What is the process I'll take, which you are familiar with? Can I take a recruitment process? Huh? Text. Say, for example, I'm looking at recruitment process, right? I want to apply analytics, right? Huh? Now, what can I do? I can start looking at the entire process or that funnel where I can do, what is it? First one is what? You receive, no? Huh? Sourcing. Right? Then, yeah, screening. Then, shortlisting. Then,
Interviewing.
right? Okay. And final joining. No, offers.
Yep.
Offer. And then, even if you give offers, how many join? This is the entire funnel by and large. Okay. Say, for example, I have received here, say, 1,000 CVs. Can I look at every stage the yield ratio? Yield ratio, right? What is yield ratio? That means if I have done 1,000 CVs, how many have been screened? If I have done so many screening, how much of shortlisting has come? Interviewing, then offers have given joined. I can also look at yield ratio from sourcing to joining. So then can I look at data and then say, okay, that you can do an analysis now, right? That, for example, if I'm going to do 1,000 CVs, how many will join? I can predict also. So using a regression model. Are you getting me? This is how we do the analysis part. Saying at every stage, I can look at this. Then not only this, at an interviewing, I have interviewed, say, for example, 20 people, but my selection has been only 2 people. If I want to predict higher numbers, can I then say for interviewing, can I go through the process and say, what am I interviewing for? Am I taking into consideration knowledge tests, or am I doing a skill test, or am I doing certain competencies? Then there is a correlation between this, and then look at data and say, hey, which is the highest correlation? Then I will only look at that. Like the example I gave for sales. Okay. Look at all the data and then say, where is the highest correlation? If there is negative correlation, that means that is not a good indicator. Are you with me? Sunil had a question. Yes, Sunil, what is that question you had? No, I think
now,
Sunil only had a question. Yeah. Huh?
Yes. Now I'm clear about these things. Okay.
No, we'll show.
So,
You wanted to see the data set. I will open the data set also. Just 1 second. Because it will be good for everybody else, because this is less of theory and more of practice, and you should understand the logic why you do things. Yeah. Tell me which data set you want me to open.
just can we go with bonus or maybe salary? Salary and rating?
Salary and
Rating.
Okay. Rating is here and salary is also here. Okay, fine. Data set 1 has salary and rating, both.
So with this data, I just want to check in case we need to suggest management. So we are on right direction or not direction with the correlation. Okay. So suppose we have take the data. So we get output as well as in positive and negative way as well as in negative way. So what we can suggest the management, which area we need to improve, whether we are going giving the rating in correct way or salary matching with the rating. So just want to check the output through this correlation.
No. So when you're saying, please, everybody should understand, salary is first of all, when you're looking at data as an HR person, you have to see this salary. Is it guaranteed salary, or is it both total salary, which is base plus variable salary, right? That is one thing. Now you want to see if there is a relationship between salary and rating. What did I say? First of all, that when you are doing analysis, you have to first of all look at, hey, are these two areas, first of all, variables where they can be actually correlated? Rating is what? Dependent on performance, right?
Right.
Now, if you get a 4 rating, what will you get? You tell me, what will you get?
10%.
You will get a higher?
5, 15 or 4, 10 maybe.
Increment, right? Not so. You have to first of all correlate rating increment, not with total salary. Why? Total salary is dependent on what? Your number of years of experience, your designation, your starting salary, what you got. So there are many other factors on which your total salary is dependent. How can you relate salary with rating then? Yes, one thing you can do is you can't take experience of everybody. Now you want to correlate something. Then you will say, hey, in level 4, these are the employees, right? Level 4.
Level 4, yes.
Now their salaries are this. Level 4, all maybe AGMs and GMs. Now their number of years is this. Is there a correlation between experience and salary? Now what have you taken? You have taken a data which is specific to level 4. Now, if you take salary data, which is not specific to levels, but level 1, level 2, level 3, now can you compare? Just think about it. Can you compare?
No, we cannot. No. We have to segregate with the designation.
You can also compare rating with the level 4 salaries. Are you with me now?
Yes.
The power of analytics is so much that as we go on, I will tell you that, hey, this is the number of trainings you have given, and this is the competency level people have got increased. So you can correlate between trainings and competency. So that means, hey, higher the training programs, higher the competency level. So by increasing 2 hours of training, I can predict that the competency level can go up. But But when you do the data, I told you initially that you cannot compare apples and oranges. First of all, you have to look at what variables are you comparing. Got it?
Yes.
Here, when you said, Madam, can I compare rating with salary? The salary data is a mixed data. It has different positions, different
Yes,
level, different experience, right? Now, how? So you have to take what? That's why I said
level.
continuous data. What data are you taking? Are you taking a class, a level of data where people are there? No.
Yes,
That's
first we
coming.
need to segregate the data with the level of
You have to segregate your data. Then you can create bar charts. Level 4 salary is so much, rating this is it. Level 3 salary is so much, rating this is. You can have bar charts also. We'll be doing that visualization.
Sure.
So yeah, so visualization we will do in total. There's a full session on that. Okay, how do you do bar charts? How do you do pie charts? How do you do and how to use a pivot, and then how to do a dynamic dashboard. Okay, so we'll be doing all that. There's an exclusive session for that. Now, my question to you is: when you use all the analysis, what are the benefits for organization? There are plenty of benefits for the organization, right? I mean, broadly, cost, productivity, and performance. But then definitely the benefits are whether you're doing recruitment, performance management, leaves, everything, you can actually then, use analytics to definitely make it as a evidence-based decisions. Apart from that, they drive a lot of value to the business. Okay.